Hello. So I haven't been on TikTok or YouTube or any other of these socials with these videos for a while, but I thought I would do one as myself and a couple of others, which you will see over the next 3 weeks, are on a nice little trip down to Morocco. So what I thought I would do is give you a tour of the bike and what I'm actually carrying, and then over the next few weeks I'll be doing a few little videos to show you our progress as we make our way down south. The plan is we are heading off to Portsmouth on Friday being tomorrow, today being Thursday, for those that can't or don't know the days of the week. So tomorrow off to Portsmouth for a 10 p.m. ferry crossing over to Santander. We're actually on the ferry for 2 nights, so need to stock up on plenty of cheap wine from Aldi or Lidl in Portsmouth, and then we're heading down to Santander, hit there Sunday morning. Then we're going to make our way down to Algeciras on the southern tip of Spain near Gibraltar, and then we cross over to Tangier Med, and I think we're probably going to be heading down the eastern side of Morocco, through Chefchaouen, which is the well-known sort of blue town with all the blue and white lovely painted houses, down to Mazuga, probably across the bottom hopefully through to Zagora, up through Wazarat, Dadi's Gorge or Dadi's Gorge, and there's a few gorges and places around there, and then head back up to the top end of Morocco, back into Spain, and back in 3 weeks time. So yeah, so hopefully the little video around the bike and what I'm carrying will give you a bit of a clue of how we make it. Right, so day before I go off to Morocco via ferry from Portsmouth to Santander, drive down through Spain and into Morocco at Tangier Med. So I thought I'd do a quick video. Well, it probably won't be quick because it'll take me ages to put together, but on what I actually take and what the bike is, luggage, etc, etc. So the bike is a KTM 500 EXCF from 2017. Was my original desert rally bike, but I've taken all the rally kit off of it apart from the tank and a few of the bits and pieces. It's got a few little extras on it that have been on basically from the rallying. It's got a big tank which I think is like 21 odd litres. It's got a little clutch saver there. It's also running a slightly bigger water pump to get the water around it in the heat. It's got an Aquapovic exhaust on it, basically a little bit of flashy stuff. You see it's got Öhlins rear suspension. I did have Öhlins on the front, but I put the original back on largely because it was a bit too stiff. It made a big difference. And it's got Hahn wheels on it, with the cush drive on the rear, so a little bit nicer. What I put on for this trip is put that little plastic windscreen on just to push the wind off a little bit, and also just to do a little bit of protection for the nav gear. Something else that I've also put on this bike recently is heated grips, and even though going to Morocco, it is probably going to be pretty cold in places, especially going down through Spain. It's also got a Scott steering damper, although I tend not to go fast enough to warrant that. In terms of luggage, Moscow Moto Reckless 80, which is bigger than I've used before. I've got the Moscow Moto 40, which I've used in the past, which always do with a little bit of extra space. And my rationale for this trip is not to carry anything on my back. In the past I've always had a rucksack with weight in, and it just makes it a little bit more tiring when you're on your bike all day, just to have that extra weight. I carry enough weight on myself as it is, so I've decided not to carry any weight. I've got a mixture of Moscow Moto and Enduristan as well, which you'll notice. Now the Moscow Moto 80 comes with a pack called a Stinger pack, which is basically a not as wide sack as that Enduristan bag on there, but I'm going to be bringing a few bits and pieces back, and I like the fact that the bag sits across both the saddlebags, just to hold it and flatten it down a little bit. These saddlebags on the sides, they do actually can come out a little bit further if you fill them right up, but again it gives me a bit of extra space. And on the front I've got quite a small tank bag. You can get bigger ones, but it just adds more space in front of you and makes you feel like you're a little bit more restricted. In terms of nav, I'm a massive proponent of cheap Chinese ruggedized phones. This is the second one I've had, a Ulefone Armour, ridiculous number, 13, 14, 27, I'm not sure which one it is, running Android, and I run an app called Alpine Quest and an app called OSM And, which gives me detailed mapping which I can download and use wherever I am without needing a phone signal. That said, I also carry my own personal phone, which is a OnePlus 13R, I think now, but that has a dual SIM slot, so I keep my own SIM and then I get a local SIM, which in this case I've gone for a Morocco Telecom eSIM, which means I've been able to actually buy the SIM, get it installed on my phone and have it all set up and ready before I hit Morocco. So I'm going to take the stuff off of the bike and show you what I'm actually carrying. So first and foremost, what we have in this particular bag here, if I undo this, is my rain suit and also a bike cover, so that when the bike is not being used and we're in a hotel, then it can be covered up, just to make sure that the local kids don't really have an interest. So that's not very heavy, literally it's got a rain suit, colloquially known as a twat suit, and a cover in it, nice and light. I like to put stuff in loads of bags, compartmentalizes it, and also means that you can easily get at stuff. So I'm just going to open up the tank bag. This is the first time I packed this, so I might change some of this. So I've got like an elephant's foot, or just a bit of plate of metal, and a notepad and a couple of pens in there. That is for when you park up in sand, you put your side stand down and you put that underneath and it doesn't sink. So in here I have got padlock for the front disc, got some juice, I've got some fuel, pennies, so some cash, I've got some that's the GoPro battery housing, and I've got a GoPro on a chin mount as well, and then in here I've also got a pair of readers so I can actually see when I stop. I like not to carry too much at the front, but it's just stuff that I would normally easily get hold of. So I'll just take this off. It's held on by 4 buckles to either side. Next thing is the nav. So like I say, it's a ruggedized phone. It's actually held on by a quad lock, which I find these are absolutely amazing. I've done loads and loads of off-road with these and nothing's ever come off. I actually power it via a USB charger there that's connected down to the battery, so I just put a lead in and put it through into the USB connector. Like I say, held on by quad lock, so that literally just undoes, and I put the loop around there just in case it does come off, and that's the phone nice and easily off. As you can see, it's had a bit of use, but absolutely brilliant, these things. Definitely recommend, rather than buying Garmin or multi-purpose units. They're so much better. So I'll take this top bag off first, the Enduristan. I keep a fairly hefty wire lock, again just to keep everything secure, so that comes off, and again all put it through the loops. The thing you do as well is, wherever you have loops, just make sure you loop stuff through it, so you know, if it does come undone, you're not going to lose anything. The beauty about this Moscow stuff, and it is expensive, don't get me wrong, is that it's really well put together. So you have 2 loops that come over the top here, but also a middle loop that holds your bag in. So that opens out and the bag comes off like so. Nice and easy. I'll go through what's in there in a minute. So the next things I'm going to talk about are the pouches. I'm not actually going to take everything out, I don't think. I might just leave the pouches in, but I'll just tell you what's in there. So in this top one here, this is an additional pouch which you can add on with the molly fittings. Basically something's been taken forward from military webbing. In here I have my stove bottle. So that's the pressurized bottle for my MSR stove. So just in there again, I like to put things in plastic bags just in case stuff leaks, it doesn't ruin everything else. So there's a bottle of petrol in there. Normally I often use gas because it's just easier, but this time I'm taking a petrol stove. Obviously we have plenty of fuel in the bike. And then at the bottom of the webbing, the bottom of the luggage are two pouches here, one on either side. Now in here basically I use for fluids for the body, and they're actually held on by a little bit of Velcro. So in this one, you see I've got a water bottle in there. I've also got flip-flops, useful for A, when it's hot, B, if you're in a bit of a manky shower, and just for basically making your feet nice and cool of an evening. This one also has fluids in it. And I'll open this one. Most importantly, I've got an aluminium water bottle there. I've got a sit mat, and very important, bottle of red wine. So that's what I've got in my pouches. And now onto the two side pouches. These are actually held on just by that one strap there, but obviously, as I said, having the wider bag on does bigger protection as well. Not that these have ever come undone. So these just come straight out, and there, and then undo that, click the handle, and that comes out as well. Now one thing I haven't done is balance the bike, and when I lifted it up it did feel quite heavy in one direction, so I might end up having to do a little bit of messing about. So those are the two side pouches, and I'll go through what's in those two pouches and the rear bag in a second. Okay, so this is what's in the rear bag. Now, as I said to you, I don't want to carry anything on my back. However, I like the opportunity, if I need to, carrying food, carrying bits I buy, or if I just need to rearrange everything. So in my bag here, I have got, first and foremost, an empty day sack. Nice lightweight Osprey sack, it's about 30 litres. I've got an adventure tarp. We are likely to do some desert camping. Then I have wash kit in there, tablet that's got all the maps on, pair of sort of canvas shoes. That's a towel, sort of microfiber towel. That's a bag of leads, and also there's a power bank in there as well. I've got another empty bag, and then in this cube here is all my clothes. As you can see, not a lot, because honestly you don't need a lot. What with what you're wearing and the ability to wash clothes, then you don't really need a huge amount. In the past I've often taken way too much and never used it. So basically, a pair of shorts, pair of lightweight trousers, a spare fleece, 2 or 3 t-shirts, underwear and socks, and that's pretty much it. And also in the wash kit, obviously usual you know, shaving shower stuff, but I also carry some travel wash, a little plug that sort of like just fits over any plug hole, and also a washing line, like a little bungee washing line that allows you to then just hang your stuff up as it dries. So that all goes in that one bag. Okay, in one of the side pouches, this is largely spares and food, is we've got a spare front heavy duty tube. Obviously just take a front because at a push it will fit the back as well. I also actually carry little scabs. They're like little round self-adhesive patches, so if you just get a little puncture, you can just use those. A couple of spare straps in case I need to strap anything onto the bike. This is toolkit and tow rope. The toolkit's got things like tyre levers, you know, rear spanner for the axle nuts, all the spanners you need, Allen keys. I've got fuel filters, quick steel, zip ties. I've got a spare spark plug and various other bits of tape, etc., that are in there. And then this is my MSR petrol stove, and then that is my food and coffee. I've basically got little coffee bags which I use, and there's a mug, a spork, and I've got some like noodles, cup of soups, what else have I got in there, and some like breakfasts like oats that just, you know, chuck into a little pot, put some hot water in, and that's actually more emergency rations in case we get caught out, and just, you know, got something to eat. So coupled with the water bottles, the stove, we're all ready to go. Right, in the other side we have got, let's go through it, bivvy bag. Now the idea of that, in coupled with the adventure tarp, is I'm going to fix the tarp to the bike, put it towards me, give me a little bit of shelter above the top half of the body, but then the bivvy bag will stick out underneath. I've got it's not a sleeping bag, it's actually a Thermarest Vespa down quilt, and then I've got a X-Bed Sin mat, inflatable mat, really good. Actually, and you can see how quite small these things are relatively. That, you know, in another little IKEA bag is a pillow. And one thing I've learned over the years is you cannot skimp on getting a good night's sleep, no matter where you are. That is a 12-volt compressor for blowing up tyres, and then I've got a pair of binos, which actually I probably don't need to take. Beanie, because normally if you're out in the middle of nowhere camping, it can get cold. And then I've got a collapsible water bottle for when I've run out of wine and I actually have to fill it up with water. And then head torch fully charged, and coupled with the leads I've got and the power bank, you know, if we are out for a couple of days, I've got plenty of juice. Obviously it can charge off the bike as well. And finally, what I'm actually wearing myself, well, I've had this Moose Racing XCR suit for quite a while now. It's not waterproof, even though it said it was going to be, but it is reasonably showerproof, and I have actually reproofed it with I think Granger's knit wax, whatever, fluid, a couple of times actually, so it should be reasonably waterproof. For this trip, I've got a brand new aero helmet. I used to use not Alpine Stars, RIs, but just too expensive, and actually I've just bought this helmet and I've been out on a ride on the 500 with it, and it's so much better for buffeting. I think the peak just doesn't catch the air so much. And then I've got a pair of former adventure boots. They also are supposed to be waterproof. They're not anymore, but I'd already bought the helmet, so maybe next year I'll buy another pair. And then a set of Alpine Stars knee guards, which are sort of soft foam knee guards. They're actually mountain bike knee guards, but I just don't want the full heavy full on motocross knee guards. And that pretty much is it. I've got a few other things that to go in yet, like a midge net, a tilly hat, and a few other bits and pieces. My paperwork, etc., has got to go in. But pretty much that is what is on the bike. So just so you can see, and that is the bike empty.